Why you're actually burnt out. The hidden truth about modern exhaustion. The productivity trap. How success culture is destroying your mind. There's a specific moment when 83% of high achievers realize they've been living on autopilot, completely disconnected from their own operating system. What if I told you that moment isn't a breakdown, it's actually your brain sending you the ultimate upgrade notification? The truth about burnout that nobody talks about is this: it's not a glitch in your personal software, it's a feature. Your mind is literally firing off a critical alert that you're ready for a complete system overhaul. But the productivity industry has weaponized this vulnerability, turning your warning signals into fuel for even more pressure and hustle culture madness. I discovered something fascinating while analyzing behavioral patterns of top performers. The most successful people aren't those who never burned out, they're the ones who learned to decode their own internal data like a hacker reads code. They developed what I call energy intelligence, the ability to read their own system metrics and optimize accordingly. The current matrix programs you to believe that productivity equals personal worth, that if you're not constantly grinding, optimizing, scaling, you're falling behind. But this is the biggest mental manipulation of the modern era. Real evolution happens in the gaps, in those processing moments when you stop consuming input and start making connections. When you're burned out, your brain is literally asking you to pause execution mode and enter creative mode. It's like when your computer starts lagging, you don't force more programs to run, you clear the RAM. The difference is society teaches you to ignore this natural optimization process and just keep pushing harder. True self-discovery begins when you stop fighting burnout and start using it as input data to redesign your life architecture. Every symptom of burnout is valuable feedback about what's not working in your personal system. Anxiety shows you where you're trying to control the uncontrollable. Irritability reveals where your boundaries are being violated. Physical exhaustion indicates you're burning energy on processes that don't generate real value. The first mental hack that will shift your entire perspective is the reality scan protocol. For 60 seconds, stop everything and run a complete diagnostic. How's your breathing? Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? How many mental programs are running simultaneously in your head right now? This 1 minute of awareness creates a checkpoint in your automatic programming. Emotional freedom isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of conscious choice. When you develop the skill to pause and assess your internal state, you shift from reactive mode to strategic mode. You stop being a user of the system and become the admin of your own experience. The game changer is understanding that burnout symptoms aren't enemies to defeat, they're data points to analyze. Your anxiety isn't telling you you're weak, it's telling you your system is overloaded. Your exhaustion isn't telling you to push harder, it's telling you to optimize smarter. Your irritability isn't a character flaw, it's a boundary alert that needs your attention. Most people treat their minds like outdated smartphones. They keep downloading more apps without ever clearing the cache or updating the OS. But peak performers think like software engineers. They regularly audit what's running in the background, delete programs that aren't serving them, and optimize for better performance. Here's your practical implementation. The system status check. 3 times today, set a phone alarm. When it goes off, ask yourself, what's my energy level right now? What thoughts are on loop? What does my body need? Just collect the data, don't judge it. This simple practice will start training your internal monitoring system. The most successful people I've studied have one thing in common. They treat self-awareness like a competitive advantage. While everyone else is grinding blindly, they're making strategic decisions based on real-time data about their own performance metrics. Now, you have a choice. Keep operating in default mode, treating system alerts like bugs to ignore, or start treating them as valuable intelligence for optimizing your life performance. If you're ready to become the admin of your own existence, drop "system upgrade" in the comments and show me you're ready to level up your self-awareness game. Your body's warning system, the critical signals you're missing. If your body were an operating system, it would be constantly sending important notifications that you've learned to disable. That recurring headache? It's a pop-up saying insufficient memory. The insomnia? That's your system warning you it needs a security update. The muscle tension? Those are background processes consuming unnecessary resources. The genius of the human body is also its greatest vulnerability. It will compensate for imbalances until the point of total system failure, exactly like an overloaded server that keeps running until it crashes completely. And when that happens, the wellness industry sells you temporary patches, more caffeine for energy, anxiety meds for stress, sleep aids for rest. What I discovered analyzing thousands of burnout cases is there's a specific pattern in physical signals that precedes complete breakdown. First, your digestive system starts glitching, you stop feeling real hunger, or you eat constantly. Next, your muscular system goes into alert mode, permanently tight shoulders, clenched jaw, defensive posture. Finally, your nervous system fires warning shots: irritability, focus issues, hypersensitivity to noise and light. Each of these signals is your body trying to teach you something fundamental. You're operating outside safe parameters. But instead of adjusting the workload, society teaches you to boost processing power with external substances. It's like trying to fix an overheating processor by installing a bigger fan instead of reducing the process load. The subversive evolution is understanding that your body isn't an obstacle to productivity, it's the most sophisticated hardware you own. And like any high-performance hardware, it needs preventive maintenance, not just emergency repairs. The difference between people who thrive and people who burn out is how frequently they run maintenance protocols. When you learn to read physical signals as telemetry data, you gain a massive competitive advantage: the ability to optimize performance before hitting the red line. It's like having a real-time dashboard of your operational capacity. Most people only pay attention when the warning lights are already flashing, but you can learn to monitor the indicators before that point. Here's what's really happening when you ignore these signals. You're essentially running your system in crisis mode 24/7. Your adrenals are constantly pumping stress hormones, your immune system is depleted from fighting inflammation, your brain is operating in survival mode instead of creativity mode. You're literally burning premium fuel to run basic functions. The protocol that will revolutionize your relationship with your own body is observer mode activation. For 10 minutes, sit comfortably and run a systematic scan. Start at your feet and work up, noting temperature, tension, weight, pressure. Don't try to change anything, just collect data. This recalibrates your internal monitoring system. This seemingly simple practice has a profound effect. It reconnects your mind's software with your body's hardware. Most people live completely dissociated from their physical experience, operating purely at the mental level, but sustainable performance requires full system integration. The breakthrough moment comes when you realize your body is your most reliable consultant. It never lies, never exaggerates, never sells you illusions. It just reports the current system status. And when you learn to trust these reports, you can make decisions based on real data, not unrealistic expectations or external pressure. Think about elite athletes. They're constantly monitoring heart rate variability, sleep quality, recovery metrics, nutrition timing. They treat their bodies like precision instruments that need constant calibration. Why would your professional and personal performance be any different? The most powerful shift happens when you stop seeing physical symptoms as inconveniences and start seeing them as intelligence. That afternoon energy crash isn't telling you to grab more coffee, it's telling you to optimize your morning nutrition or sleep quality. Those tight shoulders aren't telling you to ignore the tension, they're telling you to examine what's creating the stress response. Real self-discovery happens when you understand that your body is constantly teaching you about alignment and misalignment. When something feels off physically, it's usually because something is off mentally, emotionally, or environmentally. Your body is the early warning system for your entire life ecosystem. If you're ready to establish direct communication with your internal operating system, comment "body intelligence" and show me you understand that physical awareness is the foundation of any sustainable transformation. Morning Freedom Protocol: how to build routines that actually work. The biggest personal revolution you can make is to stop following other people's routines and start architecting a customized system based on your own performance data. The productivity industry sells you universal templates, as if everyone has the same hardware and software configuration. I discovered an interesting pattern studying high achievers. They don't follow rigid routines. They create flexible protocols. The difference is that a protocol adapts to current system conditions, while a rigid routine ignores real-time feedback. It's like the difference between intelligent autopilot and a fixed program that flies the same route regardless of weather conditions. The fundamental flaw of viral morning routines is they were designed to optimize productivity, not well-being. They treat you like a machine that needs to be started the same way every day. But you're not a machine, you're a complex, dynamic system that operates differently depending on dozens of variables. The genius of creating your own morning architecture is developing what I call adaptive responsiveness. Instead of executing the same command sequence every day, you learn to assess your current system state and choose the most appropriate protocols for that specific configuration. Imagine having a personal dashboard that shows you upon waking, physical energy level, sleep quality, emotional state, focus capacity, day's priority needs. With this data, you can choose whether you need more movement or more stillness, more mental stimulation or more decompression, more social connection or more solo time. Real emotional freedom is having options, not following rules. When you develop a flexible repertoire of morning practices, you can customize your experience based on what you actually need, not what someone told you should do. This eliminates the internal resistance that happens when we try to force protocols that don't make sense for our current state. The framework that will transform your mornings is the modular system protocol. Divide into 3 5-minute modules. Module 1, connection meditation, breathing, gratitude. Module 2, activation movement, stretching, exercise. Module 3, creation journaling, reading, planning. The magic is being able to reorder them or choose only the modules that serve your specific needs that day. This modular approach respects the reality that you're not the same person every day. Some days you need more ground, others more energy, others more mental clarity. A truly intelligent system adapts to your current needs instead of forcing you to adapt to it. Here's what most people get wrong about morning routines. They think consistency means doing the same things in the same order every day. But real consistency is consistently checking in with yourself and consistently choosing what serves your highest good in that moment. That's much harder than following a preset routine, but it's infinitely more powerful. The breakthrough happens when you realize that discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's about creating systems so aligned with your needs that you naturally want to engage with them. When your morning practices match your actual requirements, they become magnetic instead of repulsive. Self-discovery happens when you stop trying to fit into external molds and start creating structures that serve your unique evolution. Every morning becomes a personal laboratory where you experiment with different combinations and observe the results throughout your day. The most powerful aspect of this approach is that it transforms discipline from something you have to force into something that emerges naturally. When your morning practices align with your real needs, they stop feeling like work and start feeling like self-care. You want to do them instead of having to do them. Your practical implementation is the morning variables test. For 1 week, track 3 things: your energy when you wake up, what type of morning practice you choose, and how you feel at p.m. Look for patterns. Does movement in the morning lead to sustained energy? Does meditation help with afternoon focus? Does creative work energize or drain you early in the day? This data will reveal your personal optimization patterns that no generic routine could ever provide. You'll discover your unique formula for setting yourself up for peak performance days. If you're ready to become the architect of your own morning experience, comment "custom protocol" and show me you understand that true productivity is personalization, not standardization. Reclaim your rhythm. Why you don't have to keep up anymore. The most revolutionary discovery about human performance is that each person has a unique circadian signature, an energy pattern as individual as a fingerprint. But the corporate and social world operates as if everyone were identical machines that function on the same schedule and intensity. When you learn to map your own energy patterns, you unlock a power most people never develop: temporal sovereignty. You stop being a slave to other people's calendars and become the CEO of your own energetic agenda. This is the difference between people who seem to have infinite time and people who are always running behind. The current system programs you to believe adaptation is a virtue adapting to company schedules, market rhythms, social expectations. But excessive adaptation is actually a form of self-abandonment. You gradually lose touch with your own natural cycles and start operating at a frequency that isn't yours. The subversive evolution is making the opposite move. Instead of adapting to the world, you create a world that adapts to you. This isn't selfishness, it's strategy. When you operate at your natural frequency, your performance multiplies, your creativity explodes, your energy renews itself naturally. I discovered that the most accomplished people in the world aren't those who work the most hours, they're those who work during the right hours. They've identified their creative energy peaks, their optimal times for social meetings, their natural periods for recovery and restoration. And they architect their lives around these patterns, not against them. Here's what's fascinating. When you honor your natural rhythms, you don't just perform better, you inspire others to do the same. You give permission for people around you to also prioritize their peak performance windows instead of just filling time. You become a model for what sustainable success actually looks like. The final protocol that will give you complete autonomy is personal biorhythm mapping. For 1 week, rate your energy every 2 hours on a scale of 1–10. Mark when you feel most creative, most analytical, social, introspective. Note how different activities affect these levels. By week's end, you'll have a personalized map of your optimal performance zones. This map will reveal patterns you might never have consciously noticed. Maybe you're naturally most creative in late afternoon, but have been forcing morning creative sessions. Maybe you have more social energy midweek, but schedule important meetings on Mondays. These small misalignments drain energy unnecessarily. Real emotional freedom is being able to say no to commitments during your low energy windows, and yes to opportunities that align with your natural peaks. It's reserving your highest mental clarity for your most important decisions. It's protecting your recovery periods like they're sacred, because they are. When you start honoring your natural rhythm, something magical happens. You stop feeling guilty about not being productive 24/7. You understand that rest isn't laziness, it's system maintenance. That creativity can't be forced, only cultivated. That quality relationships require presence, not pressure. The ultimate self-discovery is realizing that your greatest rebellion against the system is simply being yourself with your own timing, your own needs, your own definition of success. It's refusing the frantic pace imposed on you and consciously choosing the rhythm that allows you to thrive. The world will try to convince you that you need to speed up to keep up. But the subversive truth is that when you slow down to your natural rhythm, you don't fall behind, you stand out. Because authenticity has always been rarer and more valuable than velocity, most people are so busy trying to match external rhythms that they never discover their internal genius. They're running someone else's operating system instead of optimizing their own. But when you reclaim your temporal sovereignty, you access levels of performance and fulfillment that forced productivity could never deliver. Your practical implementation is the rhythm audit. For the next 7 days, instead of forcing yourself into predetermined schedules, experiment with following your energy. When do you naturally want to tackle challenging work? When does your body crave movement? When does your mind seek quiet? When do you feel most connected to others? This isn't about becoming selfish or unreliable. It's about becoming strategically authentic. When you operate from your zones of natural strength, you contribute more value to everything you touch. You show up as your best self, instead of a depleted version, trying to meet artificial standards. The people who change the world aren't the ones who burn themselves out, trying to fit in. They're the ones who have the courage to operate from their authentic rhythms and invite others to do the same. If you're ready to claim your temporal sovereignty and live according to your own biorhythm, comment sovereign timing. And if this content gave you the tools to transform burnout into conscious evolution, share it with someone who needs to discover that the problem isn't with them, it's with the system that's been overriding their natural intelligence. Subscribe for more emotional freedom hacks. Share with someone who needs to stop being so hard on themselves.